She was Atlanta's best matchmaker. She'd found love for hundreds of people. But tonight, standing in that glittering ballroom, India Morrison was about to kiss a complete stranger, and it would either save her career or destroy everything she'd built. The man's hand was on her waist, his lips were inches from hers, and her ex-boyfriend was watching. "Trust me," the stranger whispered in a voice like smoke and danger. She had 30 seconds to decide. 30 seconds before her entire life changed forever. Earlier that day, the St. Regis Atlanta ballroom sparkled like a diamond cage. Crystal chandeliers, ivory roses, champagne towers that caught the light and threw rainbows across marble floors. India Morrison stood at the edge of it all, her crimson dress aflame against the white and gold. She checked her phone for the 5th time in 10 minutes. No message. Her hired boyfriend, Jake from Rent-A-Date, was supposed to be here by now. "Relax," she whispered to herself. "He's just running late." But her hands were shaking. Around her, 15 couples laughed and danced and touched each other with the easy intimacy of people who belong together. She'd matched every single one of them. Michael and Stephanie Chen, her first success story, were cutting their cake, feeding each other with the kind of tenderness that made India's chest ache. She'd built a career on creating moments like this. But she couldn't create one for herself. India Morrison. The voice sliced through her thoughts like a blade. She turned slowly. Cameron Hayes stood 3 feet away, his tuxedo tailored to perfection, his smile sharp as broken glass. Her ex-boyfriend, the best man, the reason she'd hired a fake date in the first place. "Cameron." Her voice was steady, professional. "Beautiful ceremony. Where's your date?" He stepped closer, his cologne overwhelming. "I heard you were bringing someone special." His date, a blonde woman whose name India couldn't remember, giggled behind her hand. "He's parking," India said smoothly. "Traffic was—" "India, please." Cameron's laugh was loud enough to turn heads. "We both know you're here alone. Again." Heat crawled up her neck. "Actually, do you know what I've been telling people?" Cameron leaned in, his breath wine-sour. "That you can find everyone else love, but you can't find it for yourself. The matchmaker who's undateable. It's sad, really." Around them, guests were starting to stare. Michael Chen caught her eye from across the room, his expression concerned. India's phone buzzed. She looked down, and her heart stopped. Jake, Rent-A-Date. "Food poisoning, can't make it, so sorry, full refund." "No, no, no, no." Cameron was still talking, his voice carrying across the ballroom like a performance. "Told everyone she'd show up solo. The matchmaker who can't even—" "Sorry I'm late, darling." The voice came from behind her. Male. Deep. With an accent that wrapped around the English words like silk. Before India could turn, a hand touched the small of her back. Warm, confident, and possessive. She spun around and looked up. The man standing there stole her breath. He was tall, at least 6'2", with jet-black hair styled back from a face that belonged on magazine covers. Sharp jawline, full lips. Dark eyes that seemed to see straight through her. Korean, with a smile that made her knees weak. "Traffic was terrible," he said, his gaze locked on hers. "I hope I didn't worry you." India's brain short-circuited. Who the hell was this? But the man's hand pressed gently against her back, a silent message. "Play along." She swallowed. "No, I'm just glad you're here." The stranger's smile widened. He turned to Cameron, extending his free hand. "You must be Cameron Hayes. India mentioned you once." Cameron's expression flickered, confusion then suspicion. "I don't believe we've met." "Minjun Park." The stranger's handshake looked firm enough to hurt. "India's boyfriend." The word hung in the air. Cameron's blonde date whispered something that sounded like, "Wow." "Boyfriend?" Cameron recovered quickly. His smile turning predatory. "Funny, India never mentioned you." We keep things private. Minjun's hand slid from India's back to her waist, pulling her closer. India doesn't like to mix business and personal life. Something about professionalism. He said it like he knew her, like they'd had this conversation 100 times. India's heart hammered against her ribs. How long have you been together? Cameron demanded. 6 months, Minjun said without hesitation, though it feels longer. When you know, you know. He looked down at India, and the expression in his eyes was so tender, so genuine, that for a moment she forgot this was a performance. Isn't that right, darling? India managed a nod. Cameron's jaw tightened. What do you do, Minjun? Import-export, international trade. Minjun's tone was casual, but something flickered in his expression. Boring business talk. I'd rather hear about India's work. Do you know she's matched over 200 couples, including tonight's bride and groom? He said it loud enough for nearby guests to hear. People turned, smiling. She's extraordinary, Minjun continued, his thumb tracing circles on India's hip. Beautiful. Brilliant. The kind of woman who changes lives just by existing. India's throat tightened. These were the words she'd wanted Cameron to say, 3 years ago when they were together. Cameron's face was turning red. Well, one more thing. Minjun's voice dropped, quiet and dangerous. India mentioned you've been telling people she's undateable. Cameron went still. Let me be clear. Minjun's smile didn't reach his eyes. The only person who couldn't see India's worth was you, and that says everything about you and nothing about her. The silence that followed was sharp enough to cut. Then Minjun turned away, dismissing Cameron entirely. Shall we dance? He asked India softly. She nodded, not trusting her voice. Minjun led her onto the dance floor. His hand settled on her waist, hers on his shoulder. They moved together like they'd done this 1,000 times. Who are you? India whispered. Your appointment, Minjun said simply. Your matchmaking service sent me. India blinked. I hired an actor. From Rent-A-Date. Something shifted in Minjun's expression. I don't know what Rent-A-Date is. My aunt runs a marriage coordination service. She said I had an appointment tonight with a matchmaker named India Morrison. Oh, God. There's been a mistake, India breathed. Apparently. Minjun's lips curved. But you looked like you needed help, and I didn't like the way that man spoke to you. The song swelled around them. India should step back, apologize and explain, but Minjun was looking at her like she was the only person in the room. And when the music ended, when they stopped moving, India did something she'd never done before. She kissed him, pulled him down, and pressed her lips to his. It was supposed to be gratitude, a thank you for the rescue. But Minjun kissed back. And it wasn't grateful. It was claiming. His hand cupped the back of her neck. His mouth moved against hers with the kind of skill that made her forget where they were. When they finally broke apart, India was dizzy. Thank you, she whispered. Minjun's eyes were dark. You're welcome. Before we continue, can I ask you a question? Where in the world are you watching from? Comment below, because we'd love to know how far these stories travel, and hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories. I'll really appreciate it. All right, thank you. Let's jump back in. Soon, they got to Minjun's car, the sleekest Mercedes she'd ever seen. The driver opened the door without a word. India slid into leather seats that smelled like expensive cologne and secrets. Minjun settled beside her, close enough that their thighs almost touched. Where should I drop you? He asked. Midtown, 10th Street. India's hands twisted in her lap. I need to explain. The mix-up? Minjun's tone was amused. My aunt has been trying to marry me off for 2 years. She runs a very traditional Korean matchmaking service. When she said I had an appointment with Atlanta's best matchmaker, I assumed she'd arranged another introduction. I'm so sorry. India's cheeks burned. I thought you were from Rent-A-Date. It's a service where you hire actors to play a date for events. Clever. Minjun didn't sound offended. Though I have to ask, why did you need a fake boyfriend? India looked out the window at Atlanta's glittering skyline. Cameron, my ex. He's been telling everyone I'm undateable, that I can't find love for myself. Tonight was supposed to prove him wrong. By hiring an actor. By showing up with someone impressive enough that people would stop pitying me. The words tasted bitter. Minjun was quiet for a long moment. What if, he said slowly, we helped each other? India turned to face him. What? My family wants me married. Your ex is spreading rumors about you. What if we continue the performance? You mean fake date? For a few months. Minjun's expression was serious now. Until my family stops pressuring me and your reputation is secure. India laughed, but it came out shaky. That's insane. Is it? Minjun tilted his head. You create relationships for a living. This would just be a business arrangement. With clear terms. I don't even know you. Then we'll get to know each other. Minjun's smile was dangerous. Unless you'd prefer Cameron continue telling everyone you're alone and desperate? India's jaw clenched. 3 months, Minjun offered. We attend a few family events, a couple of public appearances, make it look real, then we have an amicable breakup. Why would you do this? Minjun's gaze held hers. Because Cameron was right about one thing. You are extraordinary, and someone should tell you that. The car stopped outside India's building. Minjun pulled out a business card, heavy cardstock with minimalist lettering. A phone number. Nothing else. Think about it, he said softly. Call me when you decide. India took the card, her fingers trembling. She climbed out of the car, walked to her apartment, and sat on her couch in the dark. A fake relationship for 3 months with a stranger. It was absurd, unprofessional, and possibly dangerous. Soon, her phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. For what it's worth, that kiss felt pretty real to me. India stared at the message. Then she typed, When do we start? They met at a restaurant in Buckhead, the kind of place with white tablecloths and menus without prices. Minjun ordered in fluent Korean, then turned to India with a smile. I hope you like seafood. Love it. India pulled out her laptop. I drafted a contract. Minjun's eyebrows rose. A contract. I'm a professional. India opened the document. If we're doing this, we need clear boundaries. I'm listening. India read from the screen. Duration 3 months from today. Public appearances as needed with 24 hours notice when possible. Physical affection, hand-holding, casual touching, and light kissing acceptable in public. Private boundaries, separate living spaces. No intimacy beyond what's necessary for appearances. Minjun leaned back in his chair. You've thought this through. I build relationships. Real ones. This is... India hesitated. This is different. What about finances? Split costs for dates and appearances. No gifts over $100. I disagree. India blinked. Excuse me? If we're engaged, we're not engaged. We will be. Minjun's tone was matter of fact. My mother will expect a ring within a month. She's traditional. She'll want to meet your family. She'll ask about wedding plans. India's stomach dropped. I didn't think... That's why I'm telling you now. Minjun's expression softened. I'll handle my family. But you need to be prepared. This won't be a few casual dates. What exactly does your family do? Import-export, like I said. That's vague. It's complicated. Minjun held her gaze. My family has business interests that require discretion. But I promise you'll be safe. A waiter appeared with their appetizers. When he left, India said quietly, Are you involved in something illegal? Minjun's silence was answer enough. I should walk away right now, India whispered. You should. Minjun didn't look away. But you won't. Because Cameron isn't just spreading rumors, is he? He's actively sabotaging your business. India froze. How did you... I have resources. Cameron's been contacting your clients, suggesting you're unstable, that your matches are fraudulent. Minjun's voice was cold now. He's been doing it for 3 months. The room tilted. Why would he? Because you're successful. Because he's not. Because small men destroy what they can't control. Minjun leaned forward. But here's what he doesn't know. You have something he wants. What? Protection. Minjun's smile was sharp. Stay with me and Cameron won't touch you, or your business. India's hands shook. What are you? Someone who keeps his promises. Minjun's gaze was intense. 3 months, India. Help me with my family. Let me handle Cameron. And when it's over, we walk away clean. And if I say no? Then you fight Cameron alone, and we both know how that ends. India looked at the contract on her screen. Then she looked at Minjun, this dangerous, beautiful stranger offering her a devil's bargain. She closed her laptop. Where do I sign? 2 days later, Minjun's family home was in Brookhaven, a sprawling estate hidden behind iron gates and manicured gardens. India's hands were sweating as they walked up the front steps. Relax, Minjun murmured, his hand on her back. My mother will love you. How do you know? Because you're brilliant, successful, and you don't take my bullshit. He smiled. Everything she's been hoping for. The front door opened before they reached it. A woman in her 60s stood in the doorway, elegant in a silk hanbok, her hair swept back, her eyes sharp and assessing. Yoma, Minjun said softly, this is India Morrison. India bowed, grateful she'd researched Korean customs. It's an honor to meet you, Mrs. Park. Mrs. Park studied her for a long, uncomfortable moment. Then she smiled. You're prettier than your photos. Come inside. The interior was stunning. Traditional Korean art mixed with modern furniture, everything expensive and tasteful. They ate dinner at a low table. Bulgogi and kimchi and banchan dishes India couldn't name but loved. Mrs. Park asked questions in rapid Korean. Minjun answered patiently. Finally, Mrs. Park switched to English. My son tells me you're a matchmaker. Yes, ma'am, I've been in business for 5 years. And how many successful matches? 207. 15 are here in Atlanta. India met her gaze steadily. I believe in creating lasting connections, not just chemistry, but compatibility. Mrs. Park's expression softened. You understand commitment. I do. Good. Mrs. Park set down her chopsticks. My son has never brought a woman to meet me, ever. Do you know what that means? India's throat tightened. It means he's serious. Mrs. Park looked at Minjun, her eyes suddenly gentle. Your father would have liked her. Minjun's hand found India's under the table, squeezed. I know, he said quietly. After dinner, Minjun's mother pulled India aside in the garden. He's not an easy man to love, Mrs. Park said bluntly. His business, it's dangerous, complicated, but he has a good heart. I know, India lied. Do you? Mrs. Park's gaze was penetrating. Or are you here because he's handsome and rich? India thought about lying again, but something in Mrs. Park's expression stopped her. I'm here, India said carefully, because your son makes me feel seen, like I matter, and I haven't felt that in a long time. It was supposed to be part of the act, but as she said it, India realized it was true. Mrs. Park smiled. Then you're exactly what he needs. 3 weeks into their arrangement, India realized she'd made a terrible mistake. Not because Minjun was dangerous, but because she was falling for him. It started small. The way he remembered she liked her coffee with oat milk, the way he showed up at her office with lunch when she was too busy to eat, the way he listened, really listened, when she talked about her work, her dreams, the things that kept her up at night. They had rules. Separate apartments. No real intimacy. Business arrangement only. But Minjun kept breaking them, texting her good morning, calling just to hear her voice, showing up at her door with takeout and a movie because he knew she'd had a bad day. "We should stop this," India said one night, curled up on his couch watching some action movie she wasn't paying attention to. "Stop what?" Minjun's arm was around her shoulders. "Pretending we're just business partners." Minjun went still. "India, this isn't fake anymore, is it?" He didn't answer. India sat up looking at him. "We had a deal. 3 months. Then we walk away." "I know. So why does it feel like you're trying to make this real?" Minjun's jaw clenched. "Because I am." The confession hung between them. "You can't," India whispered. "This was supposed to be temporary and safe." "Nothing about you is safe." Minjun's voice was rough. "You walked into my life by accident and turned everything upside down. I can't fake this anymore." "Minjun." He kissed her. Not the performative kisses they'd shared in public. This was raw, desperate, real. When they broke apart, Minjun pressed his forehead to hers. "Tell me you don't feel it too." India couldn't, because she did. God help her, she did. Cameron showed up at Minjun's office on a Tuesday afternoon. Minjun was in a meeting when his assistant buzzed. "Sir, there's a Cameron Hayes here to see you. He doesn't have an appointment." Minjun's blood went cold. "Send him in." Cameron walked in like he owned the place. Expensive suit, fake smile, the kind of confidence that came from never being told no. "Mr. Park." Cameron extended his hand. "Thanks for seeing me." Minjun didn't shake it. "What do you want?" "I think we got off on the wrong foot, at the wedding." Cameron sat down, uninvited. "I wanted to apologize." "I don't accept." Cameron's smile tightened. "I also wanted to talk business. I heard you're looking for legitimate investment opportunities. Real estate. I have several properties." "I know exactly what properties you have." Minjun's voice was ice. "And I know how you paid for them." Cameron went pale. "You've been laundering money through fake wedding vendor accounts for 3 years, Minjun continued, using India's clients, her business, her reputation." "I don't know what you're talking about. You owe my organization $2 million. Minjun leaned back in his chair. "Money you stole. Money you thought no one would notice because you hid it in wedding deposits and vendor fees." Cameron's hands shook. "I can explain." "I don't want explanations, I want my money." "I don't have it." "I know." Minjun's smile was cold. "Which is why I'm giving you 30 days. Sell your properties, liquidate your assets, or I go to the FBI with evidence of your money laundering operation." Cameron shot to his feet. "You're bluffing." "Am I?" Minjun pulled out his phone, opened a file, and slid it across the desk. Cameron looked at the screen and went white. Bank records, transaction logs, and everything. 30 days, Minjun repeated. "And Cameron, if you ever speak to India again, if you even look at her, I'll make sure you don't just lose your money. You'll lose everything." Cameron stumbled toward the door. Then he stopped and turned back. "She's using you," he spat. "India. This whole engagement is fake. She hired an actor to play her boyfriend. Did she tell you that?" Minjun's expression didn't change. "I know." "You... what?" "I was the actor she hired, the one who showed up at the wedding." Minjun stood slowly. "And yes, it started as a performance. But you know what the difference is between you and me, Cameron?" Cameron said nothing. "I saw India's worth, and you never did." Minjun walked around the desk, stopping inches from Cameron. "Now get out of my building." Cameron left. But Minjun could see it in his eyes. This wasn't over. The scandal and the blog post went live 3 days later. "Atlanta matchmaker's engagement exposed as fake," it read. "Sources confirm India Morrison hired actor to play boyfriend at recent society wedding. Questions raised about business practices and credibility." India saw it during her morning coffee. Her phone started ringing immediately. Clients, colleagues, and friends asking if it was true. By noon, 3 couples had canceled their matchmaking contracts. By 5 p.m., a reporter was camped outside her office. India sat at her desk, staring at her computer screen as her entire career crumbled around her. Her phone buzzed. Minjun. Where are you? India. My office, don't come. The press is here. Minjun. I'm already downstairs. India's heart lurched. She looked out the window and saw him, emerging from a black car, walking toward the building entrance with the kind of confidence that parted crowds. Reporters swarmed him immediately. Mr. Park, is it true your engagement to India Morrison is fake? Did you know she hired an actor? Is this a publicity stunt? Minjun stopped, turned to face the cameras. I have a statement, he said clearly. Oh, God, no. India ran for the stairs, flying down 3 flights, bursting through the lobby doors just as Minjun started speaking. India Morrison hired what she thought was an actor for a wedding, Minjun said to the assembled reporters. She didn't know the service made a mistake. She didn't know the man who showed up, me, wasn't actually from the dating company. Cameras flashed. I approached her under false pretenses. My family wanted me to meet her. They arranged it without telling me, without telling her. Minjun's voice was steady. The engagement started as a misunderstanding, but somewhere between that first wedding and today, something changed. India stopped at the edge of the crowd, unable to breathe. I fell in love with her, Minjun continued. Completely and terrifyingly. The kind of love that makes you want to be better, to build something legitimate, to deserve the person standing across from you. He turned, found India in the crowd. Their eyes met. I've built an empire on control and calculated risk, Minjun said, still looking at her. But loving India? That's the most uncontrolled thing I've ever done. India's vision blurred. She teaches people that real love requires honesty, vulnerability, and choosing someone every single day. Minjun's voice softened. India Morrison, I choose you. Not because of any arrangement, not because my family wants it, because I can't imagine my life without you. He pulled a small box from his pocket, opened it. A ring caught the afternoon light, a single diamond, simple and perfect. No contract this time, Minjun said. No terms, no arrangement, just a question. He knelt. The crowd gasped. India Morrison, Minjun said quietly. Will you marry me? For real? India's hands covered her mouth. Tears streamed down her face. The rational part of her brain screamed that this was too fast, too public, too dangerous. But her heart knew the truth. She'd fallen in love with him weeks ago. Yes, she whispered. Then louder. Yes. India closed the distance between them. Then yes, she said. 1,000 times yes. Minjun slid the ring onto her finger. Then he kissed her like they were the only 2 people in the world. The crowd erupted in applause as cameras flashed, and India realized that sometimes the best love stories start with a lie. The FBI arrested Cameron Hayes 2 days later. Minjun had been cooperating with federal authorities for months, providing evidence, documentation, testimony. Cameron wasn't just laundering money through wedding vendors. He was running a full criminal enterprise. And Minjun had handed the FBI everything they needed to take him down. Why didn't you tell me? India asked that night, curled up on Minjun's couch. Because I needed you to be safe. Minjun's fingers traced patterns on her arm. If Cameron knew I was working with the authorities, he might have gone after you. You protected me. I'll always protect you. Minjun kissed her forehead. Even when you don't know, you need protecting. India's business recovered slowly. Some clients came back, apologizing for doubting her. New clients called, wanting the matchmaker whose love story went viral. And through it all, Minjun was there, supporting her, believing in her, loving her with a fierceness that still took her breath away. Some love stories are planned. Some are matched. Some are carefully constructed. And some show up at the wrong wedding, at the right time and change everything. This is the story of a matchmaker who hired a fake boyfriend and found her real soulmate. Thank you for watching till the end. If this story touched you, inspired you, or took you on a journey, don't leave without hitting the like button. Subscribe if you haven't, and switch your notifications on. You don't want to miss what I got coming up. Make sure to drop in the comment section where in the world you're watching from. We're building a global community of story lovers here, and your voice is part of it. See you in the next one. Have a great day.